Hey, Pat The Pauper here. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do a pre-recorded episode, as you can tell. I'm going to be tuning to this live for the premiere, so you'll probably see me down there in the comment section as well. Just want to say thanks to everybody for joining in. Tonight, we've got a extra special guest. Say hello to Anthony from MTG Box Analysis. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Rocking and rolling. Paid day off. We got a dumb state holiday up here in Vermont. So I just kind of hung out, played video games, and checked on a couple of decks. That's one of the hard things nowadays. With sets coming out so rapidly, there's so many cards that I want to slide in here or there. Bob, I know you've got a good couple of decks behind you as well. Is that a difficulty you encounter?
Actually, I'm starting to take a different approach, and I'd actually like to get some of Anthony's take on this year. They're doing something that's atypical for what's becoming a bigger interest for me, which is the Commander precons. Right, I think we have at least 3 sets this year that are going to have 4 or more decks in them. Right,
I think even more than that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a change for sure. And those are becoming more appealing to me. I know March of Machines has them. Lord of the Rings has at least 4, and Commander Masters has at least 4. So those are becoming more appealing to me. And it's a kind of a very different vibe because boxes, they tend to go up a lot over time. But I don't know where the sealed Commander decks are going to go over time if they're not like the special Warhammer 40K ones.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, right? Because they're kind of a pre-constructed product. You know exactly what's in them. So it's really a matter of, are the cards in those are they going to stand the test of time, right? Are people still going to want to play with those decks? Are they going to be able to pull items out of those decks and bring them into other decks in the future? That's really, I think, going to determine their long-term value. Because if you look at like Commander sets, from 2019 and 2020, right? Some of them do hold value as sealed or as a full set, but many of them, none of the cards really materialized into anything that stood the test of time, right? They've been replaced by better cards or just flashier cards in a lot of ways, right?
Well, I think we're, with the product over my shoulder here, we're going to see some reprints specifically from the precon decks, with the Dragon. I suspect that we'll see Edgar Markov and some of these very, scarce prints from Commander precons. And I wonder what's going to end up happening to those decks, as a sealed entity, with this new reprinting of Commander Master.
Yeah, as Anthony was saying about the sealed deck, because you are guaranteed one of each of those cards in such a rigorous and strict print. Now, when you get a box, because of the randomization in it, it does seem to hold up well over time, even if there are certain reprints out of it. Whereas one of the issues I see with Commander decks as a sealed product is if they reprint the most sought after or high value cards, I think you end up losing a lot of the value out of it. As if the Dragon and Edgar Markov decks, I think if we see reprints of those commanders, that the sealed deck value will almost certainly go down.
Yeah, because in a sealed booster box, right, you have the I'll call it the lottery element, right? So you have the unknown, where you could get absolute garbage, or you could get duplicates of the best card in the set, right? So the value, the value proposition is always there with a sealed box, or at least has the potential to be there. Whereas, in a precon deck, right, you know exactly what's in it. So, you can almost equate it to, it is a sealed, almost like an action figure, right? You know exactly what it is. And there's no variance or variability, unless, of course, you happen to buy one that had one of the collector booster sample packs, but you only get 2 or 3 cards in those. And there's only a few sets that actually have value in those. The majority of them, I've opened a few on the channel before. There just isn't a ton of value. Certainly not that lottery value that you might get with like a collector booster box.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, I think one of the things that we are seeing more recently, specifically with the Warhammer 40K as a commander deck, is some of the intellectual property being tied in with their availability to reprint those cards. Some of the commanders are actually copyrighted. That's something that Games Workshop owns intellectual property trademarking on. So using those names again would be actually very difficult. So I think that some of those cards might end up holding better off. Whether or not they reprint them mechanically like they did with the Secret Lair cards, we're certainly yet to see.
Yeah, so I definitely think that that's a possibility, right? Because we have seen that with Secret Lair, right? So Street Fighter's a great example, right? So I think a lot of people are aware of that particular Secret Lair. In fact, I have one behind me, but they've already reprinted all of the mechanics, so you may not be able to get the Street Fighter characters, but if you liked an ability that was on it, it's certainly attainable, and I think at a very reasonable price. I think they would likely do the same with mechanically the best from that particular set. And depending upon their license agreement, they might be able to reprint or reuse the names. It depends on, if they got a perpetual license, if it was a 5-year license, a one print run, multiple print runs. So, and I have not seen that contract, so I don't know what's in there.
Yeah, they don't really share a lot of information with us as far as transparency goes,
Yeah,
which you know very well.
Yes.
Looking at, I think perhaps we should share with the audience in case they haven't seen you, which they're probably more likely they've seen you than me.
Same.
But you're gathering anecdotal data, right? You're gathering stuff from different sources that's not straight from the horse's mouth, and that's what I mean by anecdotal. You're scraping the available data that's out there,
Right?
publicly,
Actual things that have
WotC doesn't
happened.
control,
Yeah.
right. And how do you feel about that? Like I get a lot of guff. One of the things I was asked the other day on, I don't remember whose show I was on. I don't know. I'm on people's shows. That's what I do. And they were like, well, what if you were in charge of WotC? And I'm like, well, that's a complicated thing. Like, what would I do? Or Hasbro? And I said, first off, there's such a thing as fiduciary responsibility. So I couldn't just do what I wanted to do. Especially if it has negative impact on the stockholders, because first thing I do is get rid of dividends, so you have to stop borrowing cash.
Hey,
right?
whoa, that's like the only reason I'm interested in Hasbro.
Sorry about that, but I mean, if you look, just they lost between 2022, between 2021 and 2022, they lost half of their available cash. Additionally, they doubled their debt, right? Short-term debt. What is that telling you? They're borrowing money and hemorrhaging money. That's what that says. And what are they doing that for? Well, that's essentially what you pay dividends with is your cash, right?
Yep.
You don't pay them with packs and boxes and
No,
deals.
you pay with profit.
Those are stock owners that get cash. So
that
would be one hemorrhage you just stop. I'm sorry. You just have to stop that if you want the company to thrive, because they're going to need cash to do things to perpetuate the brand.
That's 5% a year. Yeah, that's
money.
That's not chump change. Yeah.
The money hole that they're throwing into the online, the digital arena space does not show well on their quarterly numbers. I don't know why. That's a bizarre investment to me. I don't know when they think it's going to start turning a profit. At any rate, when they asked me that, I said one of the first things I would do, and I think they kind of looked at me dumbfounded when I said it, and that's that I would make a public campaign to be more transparent with the public, right? Like this is the direction we're going to take the company. You may not like some of the things we're going to do, but we're going to be transparent about it. That we're going to start. I know that people talked about, well, Flesh and Blood originally posted their production numbers, but stopped after Monarch because it was such a negative impact on the company and might have bankrupted them. So I'm kind of curious your take, and I know this is going to be an opinion for those who are about to be triggered. I want to ask Anthony's opinion about how he feels if it would benefit WotC to publish their numbers, to be more transparent with their production numbers with Magic products.
So I definitely think a lot of us in the community would appreciate seeing that information. Personally, I think the more information you have, the better choices you can make, which is one of the reasons why I started my channel, is just to share my experiences and the information that I've been able to gather. But on the other hand, right, there's definitely a reason why they haven't done it so far. We're on year 30 and a half at this point. And I believe they did release some information way back in the early days, but they've since stopped that as well. And I have to imagine there is a specific reason for it. So either it's if they told you that they made 500,000 boxes of a particular product, you may not be running out to the store to buy it. Whereas if they told you they only made 1,000 boxes of a product, and you look at it, on TCG Player or eBay, and you find it at a reasonable price, you might think that's an investment opportunity. So I'm sure they have their reasons. Personally, I prefer more information than less, but I'm not an investor in Hasbro. I'm not technically an investor in Magic. I buy a lot of Magic product. I have a lot of Magic product behind me. I enjoy it, but I don't do a ton of selling. So, right, I'm just kind of buying for my own gratification and enjoyment. I love the cards. It reminds me of my childhood. I think it's one of the most complex games ever created, and it challenges the mind. The deck building aspect of Magic is what really drew me in. I mean, the artwork was cool, but I was always a little bit of a nerd as a kid, and just trying to figure out ways to destroy my friends was always appealing to me from an intellectual perspective. That is.
So then a follow-on question to that, because I mean, you bring up a good point that it would potentially preclude buyers from going out and purchasing from a store. If they say they printed 500,000 boxes or whatever, but then how do you feel about if they were to publish those numbers, say 2 years after release, 5 years after release, 7 years, 10 years? Like, certainly that wouldn't affect sales 10 years down the road. You're unlikely to find 10-year-old boxes in many stores, and even if you do, it's not going to be en masse.
Yeah, I think post when they cut off printing, right, when they announced the end of the print run, I think that would, if there was a time, I think that would be the appropriate time, right? I don't think you would do it pre-release. I certainly don't think you would do it on release day. But when you turn off the printers and you put those plates away, that could be the appropriate time to share that information with the community, because at that point, supposedly, right, WotC has separated themselves from the product because they are no longer selling it. And, in theory, they don't look at the secondary market, right? I keep hearing that all the time on YouTube. And so, so at that point, right, they are done, right? They're moving on to the next thing, or they're already on to the next thing, or 5 things. And so I think it would probably be a great idea for them to share that. And I don't know why they don't.
I mean, I could imagine building in a buffer so that, product works its way through the supply chain, maybe a year after it goes out of print, even 2 years after. But certainly it's bizarre to me that they don't provide that data 25 years after the product went out of print. It just seems, it seems dishonest to me. It seems like they're trying to hide things. Not that it's not even relevant, because it is relevant to the secondary collector market, and they're the ones that control the numbers, right? They're the ones that control how many things got printed. Or even if they don't have it, then be transparent with that. That, oh, well, that was a different company back then. We don't have their production numbers. But I don't know. It's one of my big things I think would help personally establish consumer confidence in the brand, if nothing else. Even if it doesn't guide your decisions, it at least gives some semblance that, hey, we're trying to work with you. Realize it's a collectible, which is so bizarre. They don't seem to be treating it to me currently like it's a collectible, and more that it's just a commodity.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's what reprints are all about, right? It's simply putting the cards in your hand, but not with any actual value, right? Because every time they reprint it, for the most part, you see a 20 to 50% drop in the previous card. Some cards come back, others do not, right? Depends on how often they reprint them. So,
and in what quantity too. When we see some secret layer reprints, the impact seems to be so much less. Whereas, like with what you just saw with Phyrexian Arena being in every single bundle, that value has gone down so much. And I think that's one of the issues, is so many of our staple cards, since they are so ubiquitous in so many decks, they're so well known. Sylvan Library, a great example, 50% loss as well. I wonder if some of the most known cards are going to be the highest targets to just be, for all intents and purposes, worthless value as far as play pieces. But when I watch some of your videos and their older packs, I see the pack value at $20 and you
Mhm.
get $8 worth of cards. I mean, as a content creator, that's got to be difficult, and as a consumer of Magic the Gathering as well. How does that make you feel, opening up packs and losing value?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say that at least 60% of the single packs that I open on the channel probably have a loss,
Mm,
especially if they're vintage packs, right? So, if I open up a Brothers War that's a $3 pack, one might be 250 and the other one might be $5, right? So it's a wash. But what I traditionally find is that the majority of the older packs that I buy, and I try to not, I try to source them responsibly from sellers that I've worked with in the past, and that I at least have some personal faith or confidence in. I have no relationship with them, but they have enough positive feedback, I'll say, on like an eBay or something along those
mm,
lines, that
mm,
I'll trust them. And so I don't think that they're searched. I think it's just when before I open up any pack, I pull the entire inventory of the set. I familiarize myself with what's the most valuable cards in the set. What am I actually looking for?
mm,
So that way I can appropriately speak about the cards as I open them. Because like some of these packs, like today I opened up a pack of Eldritch Moon. I have not opened that many packs of Eldritch Moon. Right. And so, how many cards are actually in that set valued over $10? I believe there's 3. I only recognize the name of 2 of them, not the third one. So, and I
mm,
can't even remember what it was. But you know, so the odds of opening a $10 pack from 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and finding one of those 3 cards in order to return a profit, or the foil version of something that might have a premium value,
mm,
is pretty slim to none. But one of my goals on the channel is just to show, number one, the experience of actually opening up a vintage pack, right? So just because something has a high sale value doesn't mean that there's always value inside, right? So I want
mm.
people to kind of understand that, because not everybody can open as many packs as I can. Um, so there's that, and then the other thing is just to allow people to kind of experience through my videos, right? What was it like opening up a pack of Magic in 2016
Mm,
compared to today? And then when I go into like my further analysis, right, I kind of talk about the mechanics and the dynamic, or the structure of the set. And obviously, if you're looking at a set from like 2010, 2015 versus a Phyrexia All as One, the number of categories of cards, classifications, the foil factor associated with them. I mean, Magic has just evolved so much, more
mm.
specifically in the last 3.5 years, maybe 4, and has really kind of blown up to just so many different variants. Even for someone like me who pulls all of the data, runs all the numbers, looks at a ton of different sites to get the information that I do, it's still a little bit hard to figure out. And I bet the average player out there has no idea, in most cases, where to pull this version or this variant out of
Mhm.
a set, a draft, a collector, a theme booster,
Yeah.
a complete bundle, whatever it may be, because there's so
Right, a
many.
Japanese only Amazon sale.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah.
funny. I was trying to look that very thing up today because I still don't know. I'm gonna assume collector box is the only place you get the step and complete foils, because I opened none out of 60 set packs.
Nope, you'll never find one in there unless there's an error.
Damn it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I try and make sure that, like I let my audience know is where to find this, right? So on the back of every single pack, it tells you, you can see cards number 1 through X of the main set, these 4 cards from the commander set, and secret layer and whatnot. But that's it's hard to find that information online. It's not just out there. And so I try and put all that information. I'm trying to cull a lot of it and actually put it on my website in kind of the public space. So at least there's some knowledge of it out there and what you could expect to see, especially as we move beyond where we are and move to whatever's next, right? As things, I imagine, will only get more complex. We'll see more SKUs. It's going to be that much more important to be able to know, what could I have gotten in this pack and why is it $22 versus this other pack, which is only $18 or $16, right? Because you won't have that knowledge when you're looking at an eBay listing that just says, here's the pack name and here's how much it costs and here's my rating. Please buy from me, right? So I'm just trying to pull as much information as I can and just make it available to everybody.
You know what's so crazy about that too? Because I'm looking, I didn't even know that they had that on the back of these. But looking at this without having an online resource to know what the numbers are and the nomenclature of the sets, like if you were in a store, you wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, I know I'm going to get this out of a set pack," or you know what I'm saying? Like it
Well,
just
and
says
also
these
like most
contain
stores,
ONE 1 through 271, 285 through 344, 3. Who the hell knows what that is? Just looking at the back,
and
you have
also
no idea
like
what that means as far as
what's
like what you're talking about variants. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you know, like it doesn't say you're going to get potentially, you know,
a
the
foil etched
Stephen
or
Leaf or the hiragana art or whatever the hell it is that they're going to talk about. You know, it just says card numbers, right?
Yeah.
In the set number.
And in the Phyrexian set with the new concept Praetors, right? They use the original set symbol. They use the original number from the original set, right? So Vorinclex, right, actually has KLD, right, as its set code, and then the number from Call Time. So
I didn't pull any of those either out of 60 set packs. Not one
out of 5 collector boxes, I think. And those are actually up the most since release. The concept Praetors, but it's really confusing because if you go to TCG Player and you go over to Call Time, you'll actually see that as a card, even though you can't pull it in any pack of Call Time.
Yeah,
right. But because it has the set code, it showed up in their inventory, even though it's a Phyrexia all as one card. So like things are just going to get even more complex as we continue down this path.
Another complication in that is, again, you'd have to have the pack in hand. Now, if you're going to a big box store, something like that, if it comes in a behind the registers, how they do it in most stores nowadays, you can't just get Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh from an aisle. It's now sold like it was cigarettes before, where it's behind the counter and you have to have a register worker get it for you. They're not just going to hand you a pack so you can sit there and look at the back of it. I don't think that's how this works. So if it comes in a sealed container, a box, you're not going to have that same access to that information.
Yeah, so every pack and every box, right? So whether it be collector set or draft, they all have that information at the bottom. You won't find it in a brown sealed case or anything like that. But also whenever you're looking at a product listing, whether it's on Amazon or even in most cases when you go to Wizard's own site, you can't find that information.
No.
It's extremely hard to come by, and I don't know why, because it's been on the bottom of every single pack since the beginning of time, and no one's taken the time to just write it down, or at least
why don't they just create a downloadable app? You know, hire some young gun to make an app and make it available on the iTunes store. Hey, I want to get this version of this card. What do I need to buy?
Yes, it should be.
Watch if you're listening. That's a free one.
Yeah, right. Just hold that on your site. I wonder if Blake even knows that kind of stuff, though. I mean, as a set comes out, words. Ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah. I know where you can get these. That I can tell you. And you
What you
cannot
got?
get these in any Magic pack.
Oh.
Come play some Commander raids with us, and I'll send them to you for free.
Okay.
Easy enough.
And actually, that's something I wanted to touch on. Anthony, I know you said that when Magic was first coming out, you absolutely loved just pub stomping on some of your friends.
Yep.
Nowadays, are you still a Magic player? With so many boxes to open, you must have an incredible access to cards. Are you turning them into decks? If so, what kind of format is your premier play atmosphere?
Yeah, so I have, I don't know, probably close to about 160, 180,000 cards in my collection. I have been collecting since nearly the beginning of Magic. Back in the day, I definitely opened up packs, put cards together, destroyed them without sleeves because that's what you did in 1996. And played a lot of paper Magic. As I grew up, got my first real job, with a commute and all of that, I stepped away from Magic, focused on my career, and have gotten back into it in the last, I'd say 3.5, 4 years. Now I've got back into it. This may be controversial, but I got back into it because of Arena. So with the launch of Arena, it gave me the ability to play Magic really quickly, get in, get out, build a deck, do my thing. And I I play Arena, I'd say almost every single day, sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for 2 hours, depends. But I don't play a lot of paper Magic anymore. I have only one friend who still collects Magic and that will play with me. And being, in my late 40s, it's a little awkward or intimidating going down to the local game store, not knowing anybody, and just sitting down and playing with generally people half my age or even less.
Oh
I
yeah,
will.
I play with a 12-year-old at my store. He's got a Brago deck, and it does work.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to invite you to come join us on Spell Table so you can
Well,
play
that
with
was
your paper Magic and join people of your age. I'm
Or
older
yeah,
than you.
that was actually going to be something I wanted to bring up. Since you've got a pretty solid PC setup, you certainly could get on Spell Table if you've never used the app. It's a phenomenal service. You just use a camera, pretty
Mhm.
much just down at your hands, and you play Magic over the internet. And
Yeah.
we can do a 60 card, 100 card commander, or you can come hang out with us on our Discord server and get in some games of Commander Raids where we actually play in a cooperative PvE format.
Yeah, I've caught a few of the shows and watched you all play. It's definitely it's very appealing to me, right? So the PvE format, I think is fantastic, right? So I've been an avid video game player for most of the first person shooter, Call of Duty, and those kinds of things. And while it is fun to join a server with 20 other people and just shoot them, I think it's more fun to get either people or a group who actually wants to work together towards a common goal. So when we used to do what we used to call it video game day at my house, this is back when the internet wasn't quite fully there. We would have LAN parties, right? So everybody would just have all their computers all hooked up, and we'd all go together and
Heck yeah.
play the game for 11 hours straight. Maybe
Yep.
with a Taco Bell run in the middle or something along
Yeah.
those lines. And those were some of the best experiences I had
Yep.
as a 20-year-old with my friends.
Yep.
A 12-hour marathon. So
I remember
So-
Age of Empires 1. Me, my father, brother, and sister hooked 4 different computers up so we could all battle each other. Hours and hours.
total
Oh, man.
annihilation. That was one of my games.
Oh, man. Unreal. Jeez Louise.
I'm kind of curious because, like you mentioned, it kind of trickles into something else here. I mean, you mentioned, like your favorite video game memories. Often I like to know what's your favorite Magic the Gathering memory. Mine is definitely a new one. It's replaced, and it was going to Vegas and meeting everybody at Magic 30. That was just outstanding. So, kind of curious what's your highlight? What's your pinnacle of Magic? What's your favorite memory or experience?
So I think when I got back into Magic and I started pulling out all my old cards and just kind of going through them and remembering the past, remembering all my experiences with Magic, I think was definitely it was an inspirational moment for me, right? Because it really jump started me back into the collecting of Magic cards. And even though I wasn't playing with paper Magic, right, I still wanted the paper Magic, even though I was playing Arena online. And I was shocked and amazed when I came back to the game, after 15 years or 12 years of not playing, at the value of some of the cards. Now, to me, so behind me in the center of my screen, right in the little case, right about there, is an alpha box. No barcode on the bottom. It's completely empty. But I was at my local game store as a kid, and the store owner was, I guess he had just bought some cards from somebody, and he was going to throw it away. And I said, "Can I have that?" And he's like, "You want the empty box?" And I was like, "Sure." Right? It's a piece of Magic, right? And Alpha wasn't sold in stores, and he was like, "Here you go." So that's how I obtained that. I'll never sell it, right? It's a piece of history of Magic.
Right. Yeah. Memorabilia.
Yeah. I also have a time walk that I bought for $8 from the same game store a couple of years later. It was a little dinged on the edges. I think at that point, it might have been a $15 card, maybe. And I was able to pick it up really cheap. And, now, I mean, if you had a mint one, it would be close to $7,000 or $8,000, but at the very least, it's probably worth $1,000, but to me, it's priceless. I'll never sell it. One, I can never replace it. And two, I can't replace that memory. And then, another really memorable moment for me, and I didn't realize it at the time, actually happened last year, and it was the trigger point for the channel. So I was opening up Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It was within 2 or 3 days of release. I bought one collector box, went home from the local game store, and I was like, this is a really cool set. These lands are phenomenal. I want to get more of this. So I went back to the store and I bought another box. And I opened up the red neon ink. Now I'm looking all around online for information about the red neon ink. Like, I knew it was rare, but I didn't have there wasn't a ton of, I'll call it, information about the card.
Right.
Right. And at that point, it was like, we knew that the yellow was the WPN exclusive. We knew that the red was more rare than anything else, but we hadn't seen, to your point earlier about print numbers, we had no idea how rare it was actually going to be. And so, I opened it up, no camera, no nothing. It's just me sitting here opening up cards just for the pure enjoyment of opening cards. And I had no one to share that moment with. Now it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to figure out, really what this was, where I needed to kind of go to find pricing on it. And it was just, I felt as a non-YouTuber, very disconnected from the ability to find information about the card. And that was actually the launch point for the channel, right? So 3 months later, I had kind of figured out, okay, well, I've been doing these very crude spreadsheets for myself, figuring out what I'm getting. I had a couple of statistics kind of built into them, but nothing, I'll say, formal. And that's when, I started to go down the path of actually doing what I call the box analysis. And then I've now expanded that to, information about eligibility, talking about coverage, and kind of covering that by the box type or the set type. And then, 6 months later, after 1,000 people were like, hey, I like your content, I was like, well, shoot, maybe I should create a website and start publishing some of this information, and actually taking these raw spreadsheets and these graphs and charts and start making them available, right? So currently it's behind like a membership paywall, but my members get access to download every single box opening I've ever done from a spreadsheet perspective. I try and put a lot of the information, obviously everything's on YouTube as well, just not in a digestible format. But I am looking for ways to kind of expand that out to kind of educate folks on this hobby that we all love. And there's a lot of great websites, but I think a lot of them, they're commercial in nature. They're trying to sell a product, so like the TCG players and whatnot. There are some wikis and, a lot of sites that will give you information or pictures of the cards, but I don't think they necessarily go that in depth to what's actually in the box or kind of what you can get out of the box. Right. And so that's just kind of what I'm doing in my little space, just one of a couple of million of us out here.
No, and I certainly appreciate it. I mean, that's one of the things is I love the two different types of content I get when I watch your channel. I am a big fan of shorts. As just a modern content consumer, it is a new wave, up to 60-second format, and your stuff is super clean. That's one of the things I love about it. And I just don't understand why your channel hasn't grown at a faster rate. And congratulations on 2K. You certainly deserve that and more.
Thanks.
Because, like I said, you're creating exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking at a pure financial standpoint. Hey, what am I getting when I open a Brothers War set pack? This is what it costs. This is what every single card is going to value at. Tight angle. Great presentation. Really good stuff.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. I watched a ton of content creators. I watched what they did and I said, okay, this looks good. This feels good. And then I was like, well, why aren't they pricing it? At the end of the video, I have no sense of what I just saw. I was along for the ride. And that's where kind of the analysis comes in, because it's like a whole recap of what we just saw, but in an analytical way that's easy to understand, right? I'm not trying to speak to mathematicians, right? I'm trying to speak to folks about who buy a box of cards, right? You know, someone who spends $100 a month on Magic, right? And they can only afford one box, right? I want to show them what I experienced with 12 to 15 boxes that month, and then they can say that one feels like the one that I want, right? And at least they'll have some knowledge based on my experience. I'm never going to open a statistically relevant number of boxes. I'm not a store. I'm not going to buy 1,000 boxes of anything. I don't have the place to put it. But you know, I try and open 2 to 3 of every single box, just so I can kind of have a nice sample. And if I happen to see another content creator open up a box, you know, occasionally I'll do an analytical review of what they saw.
There's
Right. So, you know, to try and provide more information out.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you were saying at the $100 price point. Oh, don't blow my face up.
But Bob, it's so nice.
You know, let's address at least my elephant in the room. One of the bigger boxes that's the buzz in the community, so to speak, over my shoulder here is the Commander Masters, the upcoming Commander Masters set boxes, priced at, well, right now about $420 a box. I have been very, very hesitant on this, and just let's put this in perspective. I did buy Magic 30 at $1,000, right? And I'm behind that, and I'm absolutely comfortable. I know I catch a lot of stone boulders about how dumb I am. But this just has warning flags from me all over it at $420. How do you think people are going to be able to get anywhere close to the EV of $420 out of an average Commander Masters set box? And what cards do you think they would have to put in there in order for people not, I mean, at 400? Wow, I don't know. I'm just going to go with that because, like, my take is you're going to have to hit the big hits in every single box in order to get even close to 400. And I don't know what those would be in modern printable cards.
Yeah, that price point is, it doesn't speak to me at all, right? It is way too high. They'd have to put every single good commander card or great commander card that ever existed into those boxes, which of course means that they would not be worth what they are today.
Right. Arbitrage.
I mean, yeah. So, and even though we've seen some special treatments and some different foiling or different framing, I don't think there's going to be enough there long term to make the $400 price sustainable. So for me, I'm keeping an eye on it. I haven't put in any pre-orders, right? I've got plenty of time.
You're not gonna open 3 boxes like you said. I want the box analysis. I need you to open 3 to 5 boxes of this.
I will open at least one of every single box that comes out with the set for sure.
Now, what about the draft boxes at, what is it, about $320? You know, $100 cheaper. Just that
no list slot. Everybody's banking on the list slot. This is a lot of. I'm a conspiracy tinfoil hat guy, but what are you even going to put in the list slot, which is just
right? That, I guess that's my question.
You don't feel
is
the value of the cards, like
if
arbitrage
Commander
is just over.
If Commander Masters itself as a set is supposed to be such a powerful set filled to the brim with the best cards just for Commander, now what are they putting in the list spot that they're not putting in the main set?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, do they put cards from non-Commander sets in there? Like, okay, sure, but like I don't see.
I mean, almost all Commander cards are going to come from non-Commander sets.
Yeah.
I mean you're going to have to put it Caverns of Souls and Mana Crypt and more. Like, I don't.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What's the
you throw in a Jeweled Lotus and an Urk Dragon and a Edgar Markov. Yeah, you throw in all the bangers. You get a Vorin Klex in there. And then all of these cards just drop, what do you say? On average, 50 to 70% in value in a reprint set?
Yeah, for sure. They initially have somewhere between a 20 to 50% impact on a pre-existing card. And depending upon how many times we see it reprinted, right, it can permanently destroy the original card value. Right. Now, Now, the very first printing may retain some level of premium just because it was the first printing of that card, but not in all cases, right? It depends on how iconic the card is, how rare it was at the time. There's a number of factors that kind of go into whether I potentially see a card coming back. But yeah, Commander Masters at the current price point doesn't make sense to me. I just don't see how, or I don't see what kind of value we can see in these boxes consistently that's going to warrant that kind of a return. It's just not there for me, not yet. No, I haven't seen a ton of the cards from this set. They haven't really talked too much about it. Jewel Lotus is already off of buy lists, right? From Commander Legends.
Yeah, I'm checking out Jewel Lotus on TCG Player now, and it's gone from just over $100 down to 77 is their current price. I mean, you can pick one up for $73 right now.
And you don't even have the new supply in the market yet.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, this is just people getting rid of them because it's going to be worse. I mean, realistically, if you're looking at 40% loss on a card, I mean, well, let's say it's not even that crazy. 25% brings it down to a $75 card. Yeah, that's about what people are doing with it now. And you got to knock another 5 to 10% off if you want to sell something. That's unfortunately the thing about the seller's market is if you're selling it, that means you want to make the action. So the buyer gets to haggle for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. This is just it's and you and I mean, and I don't say this to brag, but I don't know if you want to tell people what you do for a living, but I know that you have a job that is a usually better than average salary. We'll just say that, not to brag too much, but we're I would say we're probably in the upper 2/3, right? At least it was where it put us. And if this is a whoa to the people that are stronger earners, is that fair enough to say? Who the hell is this targeting?
Yeah, I mean,
who's going to buy it in mass?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an IT consultant, right? So I sell my brain for a living, right? I type on the keyboard, running numbers, writing software. I mean, that's what I do for a living, which is translates into what I kind of do on the channel. And I try and open up at least 12, if not 15 boxes of Magic a month. There's no way I can buy 15 boxes of this, right? I mean, that's 2 mortgage payments. I mean, like,
right?
Like seriously, like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point, it doesn't matter what's in the box. It doesn't matter how valuable it is, right? It doesn't matter how much EV they say is in the box or what you could possibly hit, because for every box that does reach EV, and I don't know what kind of boxes you would have to open to exceed EV.
It's
right?
the first boxes. It's the fastest you can get them sold. That's the only way I made any money off of Double Masters 22 or Dominator Remastered.
How are you going to do that with these boxes? You know what I'm saying? They're so high priced.
Yeah.
At some point, you hit this price cliff that just people aren't going to climb. And you're talking about with the people here. All 3 of us have decent jobs. Right?
Yeah.
And I would not say, no offense to a lot of people out there in the Magic community, don't have decent jobs. They're struggling right now, especially in this economy. And I don't think that's any of the 3 of us here. And all 3 of us here are very skeptical. I would question if you would even open these boxes if it wasn't for your channel. And at what point do you think WotC's going to hit that upper threshold that it doesn't matter what's in the box, that people are just like, nope, I'm not going to take the risk, that's just too high?
Yeah, it's so like Double Masters 2022 I think was the last I'll call it price shock, right? When we got the 4 little boosters for $275, I think was the initial price, and then it just kind of went up from there, and it's now kind of come back down. But that I think was a huge shock, right? And I think this is the next shock, right? 1 year later, almost to the day, I would think, because I think it was July for Double Masters 2022. So like everything that they do, I think this is a test to see if they can get away with it.
If they can charge more, get more. Yeah.
Yep. Because I mean, it's not like it costs them more, even if they put a little extra foiling or a little extra panache into these cards.
It's negligible.
Yeah, it's a nickel a card, right? It's not $5 a card. Right. And so the other thing to think about, right? So if you're a collector buying a $400 box, right, you're going to take the cards, you're going to put them in cases, you're going to put them in a binder, you're going to put them on a shelf, you're going to look at them and admire them, right? But you're not going to play with them, right? Because you're just a collector. And if you're a player, right, are you going to take a $250 card and just put it in a play sleeve and play with it?
Well, if you're Bob, if you're Bob, like I legitimate, I think I've seen you put Imperial Seal in a deck. Like
I do. Oh, that's
that's the shit I'm talking about. Like we play sometimes. It's like your deck, like that's why I use proxies, because it's like my deck is price.
I'm looking for it.
It's the one that has
deck,
$1,000. My deck, priceless.
There you go.
No, I literally just had sitting out here on my play desk. I was going through it. It was my Turgid deck. I was just showing Pat, and not to show off. It's like, man, I got to get my shit together here because I don't even know where my cards are. And I'm going through it, and I'm like, oh, there's my foil mana crypt. Yeah, literally. And I was like, it's just and not to brag, but yes, I will throw them in there. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm that guy, right?
Yeah.
That a lot of people. I'm not quite a whale. I'm not wealthy. I don't, make huge money, but I make enough to play the way I want. And I'm not interested in this Joker because it outpriced me. Right. And I bought Magic 30. Yeah. So Jesus is looking at this product going, yeah, I'll take a risk on maybe getting $150 in value from $400. Oh my God. I don't know what.
Well, Bob
I just don't see it. Like this one is like toxic to me. It's like, whoa.
We've started doing this segment on Cardboard Conversations about what's a better buy. And I mean, for me, what's a better buy? Set booster box of Commander Masters at $420, or I could get 3 boxes, including taxes and shipping, of Ikoria. What's a better buy?
Yeah, so Ikoria would definitely be fun to open again. I haven't opened any of those in a while. I would throw Kaldheim in there. I just recently opened some of those. That is
good. Undervalued.
I agree. I think, for being third, maybe fourth snow set, having the Norse mythology and
their showcase did look really good. A lot of showcase, and I'll be completely honest, terrible. Not a big fan of like any of the Innistrad sets with their showcase artwork. Not a fan. But what they did in Kaldheim, I really like that. They've got some like cool filigree, really nice Celtic inspiration. Enjoyed that.
I like the dice. They had a really cool die in the bundles, if you remember that.
I don't think I got any bundles of Kaldheim.
If you want to, if you're on your computer, you can just Google real quick the Kaldheim bundle die. It looks really sweet. It's got a bunch of balloons all over and stuff.
Speaking of bundles, is there a conversation you want to have with Anthony about bundles and value in them? So, one of the interesting Bob
I'm
things
old. I forget
Bob
things.
had
We
brought
probably
out
talked
to
about
me,
it before the stream, and I forgot.
one of the cool things is Lord of the Rings has 2 different types of bundles.
Great. Oh, I didn't know that's where you were going. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Are we going to spill that here? Like, before we get into it, are we going to let the public know? Because I haven't finished making up my mind whether or not
this doesn't go live. This doesn't go live until Saturday.
Oh, so you're putting a clock on it on me?
Yeah, get it down. Yeah,
all right. So
we are recording this on Tuesday.
We have a 4-day lead. We have a 4-day head start. So did you catch this, by the way, Anthony? And you're going to have to bring it up now that we've mentioned it.
Yeah. Oh, I'll pull this up.
So I'm wondering, did you catch this about Lord of the Rings on Amazon?
I did not.
Well, okay. Well, here it is. Hot take for all you
folks.
All
right. Bring it up.
We have a 4-day head start. So, Anthony, go out and get your bundles before this video airs, is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So, I assume
we did our own box analysis.
So, if you get onto Amazon here, Lord of the Rings.
Hold on. Let's stop. Let's stop before we even show the prices and do an average, price per pack for the sets, right? I think that's a great starting point.
Okay. I can work with that.
So price per pack, these are what? 30 218 divided by 30, right? So the pack price is something.
218 divided by 30 gets us 7.26.
And each bundle has 8 of those in them, correct?
Correct.
You multiply by 8
would get us
What'd you do?
7.26 times 8 is about $58 worth of value.
Okay.
In set packs. That's a great starting point. I hope you appreciate this.
Yeah.
This is our not quite you analysis of
Okay.
This is our nod to you. You know,
this is our
this is-
half-ass attempt at being
Yeah.
Anthony here, folks.
Okay.
But we
So-
noticed something, Pat and I.
Now, a collector's pack, 17% off, $31 of value.
Mm-hmm. So we're up
So
to 90.
if you get down to here,
Oh my God, this changed. It went even lower.
yeah. So definitely
Dude, I'm
now's the
buying
time to
some
buy.
right now. Sorry that you all
Yeah.
are behind me on this one. I'm getting it. Are you kidding me?
So
Oh yeah.
if I bring this back up, 8 set boosters at set booster box value
Price,
is
right?
about $9. Well, let's say $8 more than this. Let's do a little bit of rounding.
No,
But
it's $9 more.
the gift bundle,
It's even
which
cheaper
comes
now.
with 8.
I'm canceling mine and ordering these.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Oh wait, you have to do that. Like if it's a lower price, doesn't
I'll
it
double
automatically
check
get
mine.
the lowest price?
So
No.
for
Amazon usually has the price guarantee.
8 set boosters and a collector's booster
So add
for
31 to the value.
plus your $31 value, $89.
What are we missing?
Who's the
And
seller? Is it Amazon?
Amazon.
Okay,
sold
so it's
by
not-
Amazon.com.
So what are we missing that you
And
get the gift bundle?
Content is
and-
1 collector, 8 set boosters. So that's this math right here for $89, which you can buy it almost half of that price, 45% less.
Yeah, no, this is a tremendous buy, right? It significantly makes more sense to do this. Plus, I'm assuming there's also a land pack. There's a die. There's
Yeah, you're also
support die.
getting 4 alt art cards, 40 land cards, a life counter, a storage box, and 2 reference cards. Spin down life counter.
Yeah, I mean this absolutely makes sense. They've done this before with Innistrad and Midnight Hunt, and it just made sense to buy it that way. I've done that before. In fact, that's
I'm literally going out and changing my order right now. I'm not even lying.
As soon as
I'll
we're
be
done here,
doing-
I'll order.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I mean that's a right. So looking for deals like that is something I think that's underrated. I haven't done a ton of I'll call it sales, right? But I do keep an eye on at least 10 different stores plus Amazon, and just kind of keeping an eye on what things are going for and kind of when someone drops the price. I haven't done a ton of these, but what I try and do is I kind of say, okay, I found this deal over here, and here's all the other people who are selling it and what they're selling it for. And then I also try and throw in, and here's what you could potentially get, right?
So
here's what
you're saying you're expanding into MTG store analysis is what you're calling it. Yeah.
on occasion. I think I've done about 7 videos like that
Yeah.
out of the 400.
Patreon
Oh, wow.
only,
It
of course.
does look like it looks like they adjusted my price on my pre-order already.
Mhm.
But what do I just add 4? I don't know how to do this.
Well, just
Well,
do
I
a
mean,
new purchase, like a new
Yeah.
checkout.
Yeah, but I don't want them in like 2 separate boxes, right? I'd like to get
They'll
a
ship
bundle,
them.
like,
I think
like
they'll
a case, right?
We'll cancel it and just order more.
Yeah, you could
Do
do
you
that.
think is that how you do it?
Yeah,
Sorry, you
that's
guys
how-
are listening to me.
that's how
stumble
I'm
through
planning on
Creed
doing it.
right here live. This is how.
No,
it's
no.
done.
As someone who does a whole lot of pre-order shenanigans on Amazon, just cancel it and order more.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't charged you.
Nope.
So it'll just.
Well, I
It's
want to
like
order first and then cancel it, right?
Yeah,
Make sure
there
I
you go.
get it. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
like, whoops, sold out. Shit, I canceled it.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna move my order around. I had set
that'd be
aside
totally
about
rude.
$300, so I think I'm gonna go for 6.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right
mean,
this
that's
minute. Like, I don't think people have caught on, and I haven't seen any other content creators catch this. And Anthony, I'm slightly disappointed that you haven't caught this yet.
I'm so sorry. I've been busy.
It's okay.
He does
Producing
work for a
3
living.
box analysis plus 4 packs a week. takes a
Not
little bit of
good
time.
enough.
I know.
More, always more.
Yeah.
The audience is hungry.
Well, that's one of the things. I did want to give you some accolades for keeping up with the shorts. I think it's a phenomenal way to gain a lot of viewership, to really get exposure. I don't know if you found a lot of subscriber boost in your base from that, but I know I definitely see a lot of your videos when I'm scrolling around and watching shorts. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, when shorts first came out, I didn't know what it was. I'm not of the TikTok generation, although I do watch TikTok. My wife and I, actually, that's one of the things we do, is we watch TikTok together. So when YouTube kind of started coming out with shorts, it was very unrefined. It was kind of like
Mhm.
it just wasn't well put together. Now, in the last 60 days or so, YouTube has kind of gotten their act together and kind of turned it into another format or channel within YouTube. And so what I started to do was, I'm conscious when I open up a box now about my timing, right? Because you only get 1 minute in the short. And I have no idea which pack out of 30 is going to be the greatest pack that I want to put into a short. And so I try and tailor my pack openings to kind of make sure that I can turn at least one of them into a good short video for a couple of reasons. One, it gives people in the short space the ability to experience at least one pack. And then two, it also gives me the ability to kind of say, hey, if you liked the information that I put into the short, because it's not just the opening, of course, I put all the prices and market price versus total, and whether that particular pack was a win or a loss. But it gives me a jump point for them to come over to the channel. And I have seen, I would say, probably over 300 subscribers come directly from shorts. Whether it be a Tuesday, Thursday single pack opening, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or box opening, where I just take a single pack or potentially two packs and turn that into a short.
That's actually something Lance over at Moonshot Games, he's changed his channel name, and he's actually a pro at turning his live streams into some shorter content. So if you ever want some inspiration on some editing cues, check out Lance over at Moonshot. Shout out hashtag Moonshot Games.
Awesome.
I'm kind of curious, because I know you've talked a lot about the analysis that you do, and you get kind of into like the reasoning that you've gotten into the analysis and what you've seen. But I mean, just like any other emotional Magic player, because if you think you're attached to Magic and you're unemotional, you're out of your mind. So I assume that would lead to the idea that there might be things that you would want to see change, especially with all the analysis that you've done, and like to see, I don't know, trend analysis go in a different direction. So if you could change anything about what WotC's doing, what would that be? Just one thing. What would you change?
I think it would be stop the reprints. Or
amen, brother. I love you.
Ooh.
I have a new man crush, folks.
Interesting.
I mean,
Beautiful.
they can reprint some things. I'm fine with that. We need a
mean the
planes
pace
in
that
every
they're
single set.
reprinting?
Yeah.
You mean the pace that they're reprinting at recently?
Yes. The fact that you take all the Phyrexian cards from what was it, Kaldheim, Streets, what were the 5 sets? Neon Dynasty.
Oh, the Praetors. Yeah.
Right. So you took virtually the number
Dominator
one.
United.
Oh yeah. It's Shield Ridge. That's right. So you took what I would often classify or characterize as the number one card from 4 different sets that you've printed in the last 2 years, and you put them all into this one set. You just sucked all of the equity out of 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, well, that was a conversation I was having with Bob about Commander Legends and Jeweled Lotus in specific. Is if you take the number one big hit card, the huge chase, and you reprint it, and that value goes down so heartily. If it's going to be a $60 card, well, that box value plummets.
Mm-hmm.
Are people even going to buy it? Is it now an extra stale product? That's one of my worries with this reprint set.
Look at Dominator Remastered. It drained 20 years worth of reprint equity into one box, and that box isn't even holding value. Right? I've seen it dropping.
And this is my tinfoil hat.
Joker, right?
And well, I think that's
When are they going to do it next? It's been every 6 months. When are they going to do the next one? And what the hell could they put in that
thing
box?
is my theory on it, and it's not even a tinfoil hat. I was going to preface it that way, but this is just my marketing theory for Wizards at this point, is once they stop print on a product, they're not making money off it anymore. They aren't making. They've already sold their inventory. Almost certainly the large super majority of their inventory has gone out to other distributors, whether it be Amazon or their previous distribution model. So when their printers are shut off for Ikoria, Commander Legends, Kaldheim, anything like that, a year and a half, 2 years ago, they're not going to make any more money on sales of that product. So what do they do to fuck the people that bought it? They go ahead and they reprint that product in a different way. They take the best of the best out of it. So they can do that for the next 3 to 5 years and leave it as just a barren wasteland, like a nuclear test site. They're going to take everything good out of every product as they put it out.
3 to 5 years. Literally, I don't think they have 3 to 5 years. This will be the third reprint set in 12 months.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include secret layers, list slots, extra slots like Strixhaven with the Mystical Archives and Brothers War with the
my only
retro border foil. I mean,
my figure on it is
when are they going to die? They can't even make it 3 years, is what I'm saying.
As long as they keep putting out new sets, they're able to supplement it a little bit. That's the only thing. As long as they keep putting out more and more fodder, they can add a little bit to that reprint
That's
equity
1 or 2
fund.
cards per set.
At most.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is quite literally, right after Commander Masters, what can they even put in the next reprint set? They already went back 25 years and drained the non-reserve list cards through all of Dominaria. Like,
and I think
aren't very many cards left that are above $50.
And one of the largest issues for me personally, if I were to be in charge of WotC, I'll ask myself the question, Anthony, what would I do? Well, here, I'll tell you, buddy guy. What I would do is quit with all the damned variants. I can't handle it. I just don't need it. Take away the step and complete foil stuff. Give me regular foils. Give me your foil etched and like your borderless foils. I think that's a fine area for me. I don't need any more jazz than that. Quit it with all the extra showcase stuff. It's just a way for them to say that a product is different, to be able to sell the same thing in a different way. All that Jumpstart is a re-themed theme booster. And they're just getting more SKUs in so they can have more variants of the same product. And it leads to confusion, purchase of the wrong product. I mean, Bob, you've got a great video of Matt looking through a box of Commander Legends. But and he's going through.
It goes back to what Anthony was saying earlier about basically needing a PhD to figure out which damn product
he goes. Matt goes through an entire box of Commander Legends looking for, was it Soul Ring?
Nope.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like.
It
was something. It was something that was only.
It was like Arcane Signet, so like it only comes in the Commander decks.
The Commander
Precons or whatever.
Well, no, they also have them in the collector boxes. So it's either collector box but whatever it was he was looking for, was only in those. But I think it was. I don't know. I think it was a white green card. And I think I went out and bought them for him, but it was only in the Commander decks. But but that's just it. Like people looking for example, the Youthful Valkyrie out of a Kaldheim draft box. Not gonna find it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Only gonna find it in a set box. Not even gonna find it.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not the only place you can find
it. Or a theme booster pack.
Theme boosters.
Yes. But you can't find it.
I believe you can also find them in the collector boxes.
No, you can only get 5 of those in the collector booster, and that's not one of them.
And what's the theme?
I wasn't sure, but I knew you could get them.
I
just did a box Friday and Monday. That's the only reason why I know.
I knew you could get them in the theme boxes because I went to go look specifically. That's like where that was actually the card because I was building my wife an angel deck for Christmas, and I was looking for those, and I went digging for it. However, like all of the other theme boosters for Kaldheim were like $6 or $7 online,
and that one was
all the white ones were like $15 to $20 a pack, and I'm like, what?
going back, you can see that with not collectors in commander decks as well.
Mhm.
Is Lathiel in the 4 commander decks that came out with, I believe it was Commander Legends.
Mhm.
The only
Not 4. It was no, it wasn't Commander Legends. It was actually Kaldheim.
Kaldheim. Oh,
Lath-
geez.
and is it Lathiel or Lathril? Or which one are you talking about? Because there's both.
Lathril, Blade Elves.
Lathril, Blade of the Elves. That
Yeah.
was only in the Elven Empire. Still to this day,
Yep.
only in the hell is it? Here it is.
Right
Bob
next to
can't
me.
find shit on his desk. Oh, okay.
You
No, there it
ain't
is.
kidding. It's
It's
only
like, come on,
in
sit
this
there.
product. It's only in the Elven Empire.
Hmm.
I believe. I don't think they put it in list slot. I'd have to go look, but I'm pretty sure this is the only product that they have this in at
Well,
the moment.
and that is literally this conversation is, I don't know.
Maybe
I'd
it's all
have
from
to
the collector
look.
box.
Like
you know,
that's part of
format, whatever.
so that's one of the reasons why I use MTG stock so much, is because they have a great way to display the card's movement over time, which I find very pertinent, with the symbols on the bottom of their graphs always
Yep.
come up with different set releases. You scroll down a little bit more, you can see all the different printings of the card. This is how I found out about championship decks. So you can get Gaia's Cradle for like, I don't know, $120. It's just got a stripe across it and a gold border. This shit looks awesome. I did not know that there was an actual Magic the Gathering card, says not tournament legal.
Mhm.
Bro, I am clearly not getting to any tournaments for this. Maybe for a word search, but not for Magic the Gathering, okay?
Well, I'm disappointed in you, Pat, because yes, there is another place that you can find that information, and that's subscribe to MTG Box Analysis
Oh,
and listen to Anthony go through these pains for you, so you don't have to struggle bus with it.
I appreciate that, Bob. Yeah.
Let's see. Any other great questions for you?
Do you have any questions for us? I mean, that's what I'd like to know.
Actually, yeah. Switch it
Anthony,
around.
thank you very much. First off, let me start by thanking you and our audience that's watching this when you are. I will try to be at the premiere as well. But thank you very much for your time, Anthony. We had the pleasure of meeting with Anthony a few weeks ago, and he's just as genuine here on screen as he is,
Yep.
when we're off air. I mean, he's just a very genuine, decent human being. So please check out his videos, and thank you again for joining us today, Anthony. Very much appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, I found you all before you found me, right?
Oh, really?
It's okay. But I've caught a few of your live streams. I've caught back up on many of your live streams, and Pat, I've watched many of your pack openings. And it amazes me. You guys have such really great conversations, but the number of people that the view count, right? It isn't there, and I don't know why. So I know I'm going to be letting my audience know about you all and about your channel and the show, right? Because I think a 1 to 2 hour conversation about Magic, I think is really beneficial. I mean, some of it's just jokes and fun, but what you all bring to the table, right? I mean, you're working on a new format of Magic, right? You're talking about upcoming sets. You're talking about the company that produces the game that we love, right? I mean, your topics cover the spectrum, and you have collectors, you have players, you have I mean, you just have all the different types of audience of Magic, right? And I think more people could just benefit from just listening to the conversation, and if you happen to catch it live, interacting with the chat. I know I've caught a few, and people ask some really good questions. But why there aren't 200 people in the chat room kind of tuning in? The only thing I could suspect is that it's Saturday night.
Right.
That would be the only thing I could suspect. But when are you going to do it?
Well, that was one of the things is we actually chose Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, you're already here watching, so you know the time, but share it for people who don't. One of the reasons we chose this time slot is just so that we weren't on anybody else's toes. and it, the three of us could all get together for
Well,
it.
it's also a time that we could meet. I mean, we have jobs, so
Yeah,
and
that's
Matt
what
is, he's a third shifter, so it's very tough to coordinate all of those things. And yes, we were very cognizant trying not to step on other content creators' times. I appreciate that sentiment. Nikachu basically said the same thing.
That was one of the
And I
things that
often ask,
I
I'm like,
wanted
Jesus,
to, yeah,
I
I
don't
wanted
like
to
turn it
touch
off.
on, yeah.
Like when YouTube starts playing us back, sometimes I
Mm.
really enjoy listening to our conversations. I don't remember everything we say, and
Yeah,
it's almost like listening to another content creator. Sometimes I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I dig that, or like, wow,
yeah.
you're dumb. Talking to myself. So I really appreciate that sentiment.
Mm.
But I mean, I want to bring this back. I was curious if you had any specific questions. Now that we can answer you live and in person, is there anything that you'd like to know from us? Like even with Lorcana or upcoming Gen Con, or by the way,
Yeah,
please,
we're
if
actually,
you can swing it, meet us live in Indianapolis this August. Would love to meet you in person.
yeah, first
We'll be
weekend of
there.
August, we're going out to Indy.
Sure.
Gonna attend the largest weekend in tabletop gaming. So it's gonna be a pretty big weekend, and absolutely gonna really have a blast meeting lots and lots of people. And I'd love for you to join us. And anybody out there in the comment section, or anybody who views this later, please look forward to seeing you out there. Anthony, it'd be great if you could attend.
Yeah, I mean that's just a flight away, no big deal. I
I
have
know that
plenty of
feeling.
vacation. So
Mm.
yeah, I was this close to going to Philly,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Oh,
had to
great.
back out due to some personal commitments. But I do want to start going to more events just to kind of meet people, because one of the
Mm.
things I really enjoy about YouTube, in addition to kind of sharing the information, is the comments, right?
Yeah.
99% of them are either positive, or they're asking a question because they just
Mm.
don't know, or they just want to talk. And
Or
one
you
of
get some of the most incredible people. I don't know if you've ever talked with Endless or Baggins, but bro, this guy's got like paragraphs. And if he doesn't have actual YouTube content, that's one of the things, is so many of the people that we interact with are incredibly brilliant, have a great opinion, and want to share it. So I absolutely love that portion of being a content creator,
yeah,
is getting to interact with an ever-growing audience. And as Bob and I have experienced, as you build a bit more community, we did a Discord server for the
mhm.
Commander Raids format and have almost 100 people in there at this point. So the back and forth is absolutely beautiful, especially when you've got a growing Patreon account like yours, where you can get some extra content as well behind the scenes.
Yeah, we need to do
So,
that.
Yeah. So I actually chose not to use Patreon. I looked at a whole
oh,
bunch of platforms, not poo pooing on Patreon or anything, and their name is catchy, and you can call your members patrons and all of that. But I actually went with a different company, because Patreon, it's kind of like a message board, a chat feature, and not a whole lot else based on what I read from their public page, right, about what they were selling as a product. Uh,
besides getting some points off of your wallet.
yeah. So plus their fees or their rates, I thought, were a
Mhm.
little bit high. So I went with a different company who offers a community. You can create different topics. You can also host an entire website through them. You can essentially do what they call sell digital files, which is effectively what I do. Every analysis spreadsheet that I put up on the website is a digital product. But what I do is I make them free for my members. So there's like 90 different products, but they all have a zero cost basis if you're a member of the channel. If you're
And
just
if that sounds interesting to you, check
yeah.
out the links below to become a subscriber over there.
Thanks, Pat. Yeah, so it's just it provided more capabilities for me to the audience, and so I didn't want to go with the the membership platform everybody knew. Is that hurting me? Probably, but I'm not in this for the money, right? I mean, I have like we've
The
talked
nine
about,
to
right?
five. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my 40 to 60 hour a week
Yeah.
job. So I'm doing this for the fun and excitement, and I wanted to make
Mm.
sure that I could provide as much value to those who did want to kind of contribute, to my mission on the site. So that's why I didn't choose Patreon, to be honest with you.
Uh-oh, Bob's resizing a big old monster.
Well, you should recognize that.
Oh yeah, that's our background that Matt from over at Pure MTG was able to get as a background for a program he made. He's actually got an app for Commander Raids. So really impressed with some of the feedback from the community. We're trying
That's
to
AI art
incorporate.
generated.
I was going to say, we're trying to incorporate as much as we can from different programs and art fields, whether it be how open technology is in all sorts of different facets. So I'm a huge fan of new and upcoming tech, including AI.
I just didn't want to have the Commander Masters box up anywhere. It's giving me heartburn.
Yeah, right.
It's like it's irritating me. I wonder how many people I triggered in the audience.
I was like, you made us for over an hour.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, hey, you are a guest. You got to pay your dues.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here tonight. I mean, it's great to be able to do this. So honestly, I wish we had bigger viewership than we do, because I think I think people could get some value if they listen to what we were saying.
And it's not that people don't enjoy it. It's just
problem.
that like it's not for everybody. Because I mean, we get like actual channels in here. Like Nikachu still stops in from time to time, and he's got 150K across his channels.
It's two big problems. It's two big issues, really. One is my personality, and the second thing is Pat's voice. They're just terrible.
No, yeah, yeah.
I mean, to toot our own horn, it's amazing the guests that we've had stroll through. I'm always constantly surprised. I'm even surprised, you Dane.
Oh my God, Gavin Duggan! Like, I don't understand why we had one of the Commander creators on. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he created the Commander. He helped create the Commander format with Sheldon Memory. He's a current active member of the Commander advisory group. And I mean, Commander is. I mean, seriously, Magic is Commander at this point. It's just fine. Yeah, there are other formats. I wish it would be Commander Raids, but Commander is
slow and steady. That's one of the things he specifically told us, both on and off air, is keep at it.
Just keep at it.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that you're really doing, and are 100% behind, is do something that you love, do something you have a passion for.
Take Nikachu's advice. Make content you want to watch.
100%. That's Mr. Beast's advice. Is literally, as you consume content, think about what you're watching, why you like it. Oh, hey, this has got really good in-depth conversation. Okay, I like that about this. Oh, I just want to watch people open packs, just rip wrappers full speed. Rudy, 50% of his pack he like throws on the floor. Like, it's just boom, boom, boom. You can do 2 collector boxes in like 18 minutes. Shit's impressive. Now, if you're just looking for like, oh, a breakdown, I want to know what's inside of this product, check out MTG Box Analysis. This guy's telling you what's what and what you're getting out of it. If you want to see people talk about the company that's making it, just chatting about the theory of their marketing, check out my BS channel over here. There's a lot to different Magic creators and the content you're looking for. So just be aware of what you're creating as you're consuming.
Absolutely.
It also seems like you're doing, Anthony, exactly what I recommend to a lot of people. And I know it doesn't seem like it. Some people probably think I'm a bit grumpy, but you found your Magic happy. You're in your zone, engaging with Magic. I know you buy things, but you're engaging with Magic, and I know it's not about the buying, and I know it's not specifically about making money with it. Like you're paying attention to the money aspect of it, and the analysis of it and the numbers, but you're in your zone, right? You're looking at your graphs. You're filling your free time with the analysis part of the game. Yeah. Right. That it's fulfilling, it's scratching that itch that you have for being happy with Magic. So many people are unhappy with it right now. They keep coming back to it. I'm kind of confused by that, but they haven't found their Magic happy, and I'm glad that it seems like you have.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to describe it, right? Because when I would open up a box of cards, right, I'd spend $100 to $200 on a box of cards, right? And as a collector, right, I might spend 30 to 45 minutes opening up the packs, sleeving them up, looking at them, and that's about it, right? But what I found was I can kind of take that 30-minute to an hour experience and I can turn it into a 6-hour adventure by going through all of the data, going through the analysis, plus going
Yeah.
through the cards, and
Mm.
then creating kind of the video presentation that I do on YouTube, and then continue that through as people comment on the video for the next week to 2 weeks. Right? It really took that what used to be a little experience and kind of turned it into this month-long thing for one box. So that's just that is my magic happy. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's definitely going to be the title of this podcast. Is Find Your Magic Happy, featuring special guest MTG Box Analysis and Commander Masters.
I don't know that Commander Masters is going to find a lot of magic happy.
No, it's for clickbait. You got to troll these fucks, Bob.
Right.
That's
yeah, I do feel for people, and I would be very hesitant. Let's just put it this way: on any reprint set, everybody can wait, especially when your price point to entry is this high.
Okay,
and
yeah,
we talk. I do want to talk about this because you kind of likened it to Double Masters 2022, and here's where I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay,
and so here we go. Controversy. Trigger alert.
I'm going to get you, Big Bob.
Fancy. We'll start with the collector boxes. I was able to nab them super early at $212 a box. I got the draft boxes at $236 a box. Now, this is not like eons ago, which if you compare those prices to like the VIP packs with we did a whole video on comparing an entire collector box to the VIP packs, and the VIP packs themselves, if you strip away the garbage, the commons and lands and shit, each pack was almost roughly equivalent to a VIP box. And those were $100 at release. These packs were $75 at release. So it was almost basically a bargain to strip away a bunch of commons that really, who gives a crap? And maybe a couple of uncommons. The draft boxes were basically on par with each other. Almost 18 months apart? Is that what it was? Something akin to that? Maybe two. No, it was almost 2 years apart, right?
Yeah.
Between Double Masters and Double Masters 22. So there was a 2-year stretch, but the price didn't change much, right? We're only 12 months after Double Masters 2022, and yet the entry price is what, $340 something like that for the draft box, which is that's like at least what 30-something% higher.
Yeah,
and when you look at the set box, there's nothing to really compare it to, but that's the set box is like almost double.
Okay,
the price
so
of the collector
currently
box.
Amazon is $504 for Commander Master set.
Stay away.
Like I wasn't in it at like 400. I wouldn't have been in it 300. Like to me,
25% less.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? So I guess what I'm saying, Anthony, because you kind of compared it to what's going to happen with the set boxes versus 2022, but Commander Masters 2022 was 30% lower to begin with, right? And so I think your percent drop off, your difference, I don't remember what the term is, of potential loss is much greater with Commander Masters on an average box, right? Like a bad box will say, like, for example, I just recently opened a Baldur's Gate set box, and any card over $1 in value, like I did it live. Talk about a nut punch. $22.
Paws Brown.
$22 out of a $95 box is what I paid for it. $22 in any cards. I had one mythic in the entire box, and it was $1.40. The best card I got was an $8 like card from the list slot. Yay!
I'm pretty sure I did the best. I think I did the best out of 9 people.
I got 0 lands, or 0 of the high dollar lands.
Yeah.
I didn't get any dragons, no lands, 1 garbage mythic, and so I lost what, $75 on the box at least, and that doesn't even include selling fees. So, but what I'm saying is, at that price, losing $75 seems tremendous because of the percent loss, right? But that's going to be pittance to Commander Masters. And let's say you only experience, like I experienced a 75% loss. Let's say you only experience a 30% loss. Your loss dollar for dollar is still going to be much greater out of Commander Masters because your price to entry is so high. Yeah. It's like I don't see it. Whereas like you and in all honesty, I don't think they can match the lineup that they had of cards in Double Masters 2022. If you look at that, I mean,
it was
chock full of cards like that everybody wanted, and I don't think people realize that. So I can't imagine. I'm just no. Commander
Yeah.
Masters in a winner?
Yeah.
No.
I think this might be the set, not the set for me, but the set for Magic that more than enough players are going to say this is enough, that we just can't do it. We're not going to be buying this product.
Yeah.
I know. Well, so I'll one caveat to that is the commander decks.
Yes, I'll agree with that. Okay.
Having 10 new cards in each of the 4 themed commander decks, including slivers, I've got to say, you kind of tickled my fancy. So I've actually got pre-orders on the commander decks, and only that out of the entire SKU lineup for this product.
I'll agree with you, but it's still a risk because we don't know what's in them. Like if they reprint, let's say Sliver Legion is the best card that's in it, which is already down to $25 after its first reprinting. I'm just saying, that could be it, right? So at any rate, here's the follow-up question to that for Commander Masters. Like, I don't even think it'll do well, even if it tanks in value. The sealed box down the road, I think people are just going to look at it if it tanks and goes, ooh. I mean. I don't know.
It'll have the Baldur's Gate stigma. Is that what you're thinking?
Essentially, yeah. Like, I just don't think it'll be a hot seller. I mean, you're probably gonna have to get to around like the $250 mark, I think, before you're gonna get most people back to that comfort level of buying into it, especially in a market. Because what they'll think is, oh, well, it'll go lower. They'll release more, and it'll go even lower, right? So, and how long will it take them to offload this all over the place? It'd be forever.
Yeah, I mean, the only things that would make this set worth even remotely close to that, right, is one, they put every single superstar they could ever possibly do in there, which, while on the surface will make it appealing, will ultimately hurt from a value perspective long term, right? Because they're essentially just pulling out the reprint equity from the older cards and having the old price and the new price meet in the middle. The only other thing that could potentially make it valuable is if this is a set that they short print, right? Now, we have no idea what a short print looks like because we get no information from WotC as to how many they are printing. The only indications, right, would be at the distribution level. I'm not friends with any distributors, so I would have no inside information there. What is interesting, though, is the prices on Amazon. So typically, you don't see this happen on Amazon. You might see it on CCG Player, right? So look at the complete bundles that just came out, right? Every time Amazon listed them, they were $80 if they were the seller, right? Some third parties, fourth parties, right? They can do whatever they want on Amazon, but Amazon always sold them for $80. Whereas on TCG Player, right, they were up to, I think, $179 at one point. It was.
I think they were over 200. I think somebody pointed out they were like 210 or 215. I was like, geez.
That is, I mean, that's crazy, right? 2.5 times.
I had to force myself to open them, looking at the prices. That was the only thing that made me want to stop. Like, I literally bought them at $62 a piece for an entire case. I ordered it back in December because I love the oil slick lands. I'm like, I love those lands. We had it on the channel, and Pat was like, nah, I'm not a fan. But I mean, that was the whole reason that I ordered them. And even though they were, I got them this week, I'm like, I'm forcing myself to open a product that I bought to open. I'm going to ignore the financial value altogether because I want those damn oil slick lands. And I know I could sell the whole case for $800 and buy every one of those lands for, that's not the point. I bought it to open it. Right. And I wanted that experience.
Yeah. They're currently going for 128.
Oh, good. They'll probably drop more.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably hit 110 and then just kind of stop. I don't think they'll go much lower than that because I think when they start to hit that point, right, inventories will clear out and the people who have them will just be like, well, they can sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because they're the people who bought it, buy the case at $60 a piece, and they're looking to make, at least 60% back, right, from after fees and everything else. So those will be the stores that are just hang on to it, right? And they're not that big, right? They're about the size of a draft booster box. I got a couple of them behind me. So yeah, but Pat, the oil slick lands, they really are. Like I was telling somebody last night,
I haven't seen them, not in person at least.
They are stellar and they're flat.
They are flat, and
the only thing is some of them are a little hard to see. I'll give that, especially on Spell Table. the blue one and the black one specifically
I do prefer the
are a little difficult to see.
Phyrexian
Even the
lands,
green.
actually. The Phyrexian lands out of some of the, I don't know, somewhere. No, the other
Hold on.
version. Yeah. The other
Oh, I don't
version
have-
of
I don't have-
Phyrexian lands. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that look like all sorts of metal.
Yeah, no, they're
Yeah.
literally they're the Phyrexian lands.
Yeah. Yeah, not those lands, but the other
one
lands,
of the
but
6
not those
variants
other
of lands
lands.
out of this
Yeah.
set.
That's part of what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah, those.
Yes.
Those are pretty. Those are pretty.
yeah,
dope.
those ones. That's just.
But I'll be
metal
honest with you,
shit.
those are almost harder to tell at a distance, like which one it is versus the oil slick. Now, I'll
Yeah,
say they
but,
are
like-
kind of dark for a spell table.
Yeah.
For the oil slicks, for the blue, the black, and the green, the white and the red really pop.
Oh, man, well, so that's a nice consideration that I am just too terrible of a person to ever think about. I proxy all of my cards, so they have like made up artwork and shit. So it's just like, fuck everybody on spell table. I have to tell them when I'm playing, like the whole time.
Okay, I get you, but I mean, they are impressive to look at. They really are. The oil slicks.
I got to see them in person, so I'll talk to one of my LGS.
They're
owners.
impressive. I mean, they just are impressive, and they feel quality. Like I don't know how to express across the interwebs.
No, I'll give you some credit
like
there.
a better quality card. They're like
my buddy
thicker
pulled
soccer,
a
thicker stock,
textured
maybe?
Kozilek,
I don't know.
and they are cool in person. I thought it was very gimmicky at first, but then I saw one, felt it, and it was, hey, this is pretty cool. But I'm still worried because they were followed up in a Dominaria product of some sorts with a textured.
Oh, yeah.
Dominaria United, but the way they did texturing on that was so different. It wasn't even close. It's more like a foil etched.
That's one of the parts where they still call it a textured card.
Yeah, because the borders were textured.
Yeah,
but those have not done well. Even though I thought the stained glass treatment was actually a pretty nice showcase card compared to some sets. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
You mean AFR? Let's say it. AFR was terrible showcase.
You mean Boulder's Gate?
No, AFR.
same showcase. The parchment paper.
Yeah, but AFR is the one that introduced it. I blame it on AFR. What a terrible showcase. The showcase just looks like a 5-year-old. I even played D&D in the 80s. I don't want to see the art from the rule books in the 80s.
That's
it's so much better now.
An issue I think that's a wound I've already had heal. Is is that I'm a huge Adventures in the Forgotten Realms fan. I have literally thousands of pages of their novels behind me. So huge fan, dozens of Drist books. No kidding. Now, when they put him in a set and really just tore through my childhood, when I saw Caddy Bree with this weird chin and just what they did with all of those characters, I worry for Lord of the Rings coming up. Now, with the different slew of skew that they have in line for it, and one of the big things that has me the most worried is that they have a starter product along with this series of products coming up. So what it is to me, Bob, is a way to get people that don't really play Magic playing Magic.
No.
And hold up. One of the things about all of their starter products is instead of instruction manuals, they send you to MTG Arena, which we know they are investing more and more every year. I think this is a way to get people that don't play Magic, number one, playing Magic, number two, playing Magic on Arena in specific.
All right, so now we're gonna get into it. Major problem with that theory. What do all the starter decks prior to this one have in common? What format? Let's give you a hint. What format are they?
This is
No. I asked you a question.
Were they previously standard?
All of them were previously standard set.
Yeah. This is
a direct to modern set. So how the hell are you putting that in a starter deck?
Apparently for 1999. That's how. Yeah.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's like, what does that mean? Does that mean they just put Frodo on the package and they're just going to put standard cards in there that aren't in the Lord of the Rings set? or they take the Lord of the Rings printings of the cards, because Modern can have standard cards in it for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And so, technically, I guess they're all Modern legal, right?
It's literally got Bob scratching his head. Did you see that, Anthony? Like,
Seriously, I'm like,
That's
what
your
the
next proxy.
hell does this mean?
yeah.
Is it a Modern starter deck?
Yeah.
That would be very weird, because they
I'm
don't
pretty
even
sure
have
that's-
Modern precons, right? They got Pioneer, they got Challenger,
Lord
they
of
got
the
Commander.
Rings.
But
There.
what the shit's in these boxes that warrants, like it feels either shameless, or they're doing something weird, or I don't know. Very curious.
Yeah.
Would love to see your analysis on them, because I do like the starter box, and honestly, I give those out as gifts to people that like literally don't know shit about Magic.
So they are on sale. They're under $17.
No, I just bought 6 bundles.
Yeah. Oh, same. I actually changed.
Like
my
literally,
order
sorry
the
you
other
guys are getting
weekend.
this 4 days after I did that, and hopefully they're still at that price. But
Yeah, I mean,
$48
honestly, that's
listen,
so fun. That's
do
so
you-
ridiculous. Under $50 each.
Hold on. What are the normal gift bundles, Anthony? Aren't the normal gift bundles around $60? 50, 60
yeah.
bucks?
Yeah. So I mean,
that's for a normal gift bundle out of a standard set. This is going to be a Modern set gift bundle, right? So it's supposed to have that Modern, Horizons esque. It'd be like if you had
That extra boost,
you didn't have,
the
it'd be like
juice.
if they had the gift bundle for Modern Horizons 2, but they didn't, right? They had the bundle, but there was no gift bundle.
Yeah.
Right. But this
Without
one's going to
that
have a gift bundle. Like, and
How is
those
it
for Modern
cheaper?
Horizons 2 were
I just
like
don't get that it's $1.30
$35 or
cheaper.
$49.
It's $1.30 cheaper just to get a collector booster.
Wait, you
like,
save $1.30 by getting a collector pack in it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know. You know
This
what
is
it is?
dumb.
That's box analysis is what that shit is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my gut tells me that is a mistake that will probably be
I
corrected
agree.
sometime in the next few days.
Well,
right?
so Bob and I have been talking about this for like a week, and it went down. It
this is the
went
first
down
time we shared it
$9.
with the public. You
Yeah.
brought it out of us, because I even told Pat, I'm like, don't say this on
We shouldn't
on
do
camera. I'm
this.
like,
Yeah.
It's
I'm
been
like,
over a
I
week.
haven't
Yeah.
decided whether I'm going to buy it,
Yeah.
and that was when it was what, $7 or $8 cheaper than
Yeah,
today.
it was 58 and
It was
change.
like
Yeah,
56,
like
I think. Something.
it's like $9 cheaper now.
Yeah.
This is legitimately
Bizarre.
really
What a
fucking
bizarre
dumb.
thing.
Yeah,
I'm not putting that out on Discord.
I'm a fan.
Sorry.
I'm a fan. I like this. This is one of my
Thank you,
things about
Amazon, I
Magic.
guess.
Like,
And sorry,
is-
LGSs, you just took it in the pooter before you
big
even
time.
knew the product was available.
right?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely something I'm going to pick up right after I go back over to my normal computer over here. The only thing I can think of is it's an error. It has to be.
We
right?
got him
Because-
flustered, Pat. We got him
I mean,
cornered.
No, I like that because this is one of the things that I love about Magic, and why I stumbled upon your channel is I have two different parts of being a Magic player. I have value and I have price. And there is often a middle ground that is Magic, right? But playing a lot of proxies, I have value, but no price. It's real cheap. Now, something like this is that fun area where the value is still good cards, new cards. You're getting collector's packs, set packs, and the price is really low. And that's one of the interesting things that I found over on your channel is that you can sometimes see those wins in packs, boxes, and product in general. Now, is that something you spend a lot of time doing, is scoping around, trying to find different prices for stuff, doing sales or erroneous things like this?
Yeah, so I do spend, so whenever I buy a box of cards, unless it's the latest and greatest set, which I'll do some preliminary shopping to figure out where I'm going to do my pre-order, right? I do check out all of the major, I'll call it card store retailers, as well as marketplaces, to try and find the best deal. Like, I'm not going to pledge my allegiance to any particular store just because maybe I have store credit or because I've purchased with them in the past, right? If it's a reputable source, it's the right price. I I will go with them. Now, I won't go with some random store just because they're $2 cheaper, because I don't necessarily have the confidence that they'll deliver the product. Right. So it's not always about the penny. But I'm a smart shopper, right? I mean, I use my brain not only when I'm opening the cards, but when I purchase the cards. But what I don't do, I've never been a speculator. I've never been someone who is trying to, let's say, find the best deal so I can put it on the shelf and then flip it 2 years later. Like I've got a box of double masters that came from the exact same case as one that I pulled a textured foil in. Is there going to be a textured foil in that? Absolutely not. I can guarantee it because I already opened the textured foil from that case.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to like flip those packs and like saddle that on somebody else. So I've got them in the background, and I'll open them up on the channel as single packs. I've already done one, right? Just for the experience, so people can kind of see that $70 pack, even though I know they're going to be a loss, but I'm okay with that because I've already paid for the experience when I bought those boxes as part of that case. But no, I've never been a flipper, an investor. I am truly a collector and someone who enjoys just the experience of opening Magic and just kind of analyzing what's there. To me, that's appealing. I don't know why. It's just the nerd in me, I guess.
No, I totally get that. And I think that's, rounding back to something Bob had said earlier, is finding the happy in Magic. And I think that's something that all of us need to do, and all of you out there need to do as well. Find the bit of Magic that really enthuses you, whether it's deck building, whether it's building a new format, whether it's figuring out exactly what you're getting out of your cards, trying to get that speculative value. If you want to buy to hold on for a couple of weeks, if you want to buy on the lows, sell on the highs, find that thing in Magic that's just for you guys.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think the three of us here, I think we all have a healthy approach to it. I love what you said earlier on in the podcast, that you cracked packs for yourself, because a lot of people think that I say, you shouldn't crack anything. That's not true. I do crack it. What I try to ward against is people cracking specifically to try to flip and make money off it, like you were just saying, because that generally, I think inevitably, the longer you play it, just like a gambler in a casino, you're gonna lose, right? You're gonna lose money, and then you're gonna feel bad, right? And probably, or possibly at least, end up in a bad financial spot. So we don't want anybody to end up there. And I think that your channel does a great service to the community to provide the best we can do as content creators is provide information, insights, analysis, opinions to try to make that Magic happy experience happen for all of you. And I want to thank you again, Anthony, so much for coming on and sharing your experience with Magic over your 30 years and your
much
current
love.
Spot in Magic. So thank you again, and hopefully you'll consider coming and joining us again sometime, with a follow-up on some of these things. Would love to have you again if you'd be so kind.
Absolutely. This is a great experience. I'll be in the chat Saturday, like when this debuts. So hopefully talking to everybody. And I would love to come back. This has been phenomenal. Love talking Magic. So I mean, this is like the online chat room, just in real life, in person.
Right.
So, fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, it's been an absolute blast, but we got to get going. It's already been a long one. So until next time, take care. I've been Pat, and you've been awesome.